What's going on, guys? It's Cimoooooooo. So today we're going to be unboxing the new Lair of Darkness structure deck. Now, I always advise that you guys buy 3 copies of the newest structure deck that comes out, and the reason for that is because the cards contained in these structure decks usually aren't going to get a reprint for any foreseeable future. I mean, look at Hero Strike. Shadow Mist still hasn't had a reprint, and that deck is several years old. Dark Law only has a reprint as an ultimate rare, so it got upgraded. You can look at Monarchs. Hell, the ABC cards only just got reprinted because of the fact that it was a Kaiba-based product, and that's just an anomaly anyway. But the cards in here usually aren't going to get a reprint for any foreseeable future, and if the deck becomes relevant at any competitive level, you're going to want to make sure that you're prepared. So pick up 3 decks, you're going to have everything you need for the most part, at least in terms of, you know, the core components of a deck like this, and there's also some really good staples that we're going to cover in here as well. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into it. I'm probably just going to skip over all the other contents of the structure deck and just get right into the cards, because that's really all we care about. You usually always get something like a playmat and, you know, a little strategy guide, which actually, funny enough, unless the strategy guide got changed, there would be actually something funny to show you guys on there. So maybe we actually will go ahead and just take a quick look. Let's see. I believe the strategy guide is on the back here. Yeah, it is. So the funny thing, and let's see if it's changed or not. Oh, it's not. Okay, so if you guys can see this, right here for Fiendish Rhino Warrior, it says you can send a Fiend monster from your deck to the graveyard if this card's sent to the grave. Use it to send Darkest Diabolos, Lord of the Lair, to the graveyard so you can special summon it later. Well, Darkest Diabolos is a dragon, so you actually cannot do that, so I just think it's funny that there was that little mistake on there. But we all make mistakes. I just thought it was funny because it was actually in a printed official Konami product. But so we're just going to go ahead and get into this here. It's really weird that Lilith is actually on top, but I don't know. I think usually they would have the cover boss monster on the top of the box here, but that's okay. So we're just gonna flip to it here because he is the other ultra rare, and there he is. Wow, that card just looks absolutely gorgeous. So Darkest Diabolos, Lord of the Lair, Dark, level 8, 3k attack. Your opponent cannot tribute this face-up card on the field, so it's basically kaiju proof, and it cannot target, and cannot target it with card effects. So built-in target protection is also pretty good, and you can only use each of these effects once per turn. If a dark monster you control is tributed, except during the damage step, you can special summon this card from your graveyard if it was there when you tributed, or hand, even if not. So this is how you summon this boss monster. You know, boss monsters in structure decks are kind of hit or miss sometimes, but this is an incredibly easy summoning condition for a 3k body, and the fact that it's recurable, I mean, kind of in the light of something like Darkwold Grapha, not many boss monsters in these structure decks are so easily recurable, so that's already an insane effect already. Then the second effect, you contribute 1 dark monster. Your opponent places 1 card from their hand on either the top or bottom of their deck. So the thing I don't like about this is that they get to choose the card, and they also get to choose where it goes. However, you do basically get to modulate their draw phase and either basically remove a card from their hand that they're going to be drawing again, or they have to put something on the bottom. Now the downside of that can be if they draw something like a Garnet or a Predaplant Cobra, they can put that back in their deck, not draw it next turn, and now their Brilliant Fusion or their Scorpio are now live. So I wish it were random, but overall, the fact that it's a hand destruction effect built into a recurable boss monster on a 3000 attack body, that's really, really good. And we're gonna probably see this, maybe not outside of, you know, the deck itself, in something like Brandish or the Sky Striker archetype that's gonna be coming out in May, because the main monster of that deck happens to be a dark monster with a tribute-based effect, so people have been teching this card in the OCG just so they have a big boss monster to pair alongside it. So that's it for Diabolos. Really solid card all around. Next up is Lilith, Lady of Lament. So this card is a 2000 attack level 3 Dark Fiend, so that means it's a tour guide target, interestingly enough. And if it's normal summoned, its attack becomes 1000. Makes sense considering it's 2000 already. And as a quick effect, you contribute 1 dark monster, including itself, keep in mind, reveal 3 normal trap cards from your deck. Your opponent randomly chooses 1 for you to set to your field, and you shuffle the rest back into your deck, and you can only use this effect once per turn. So not only is this a quick effect, but basically basically Lilith makes any normal trap card in the game searchable. So one of the applications that people are talking about with this card is in a deck like Infernoids. Void Feast is one of the biggest power cards that deck has, and with the introduction of Lilith, you effectively have 6 copies of Void Feast in your deck now, 3 Void Feast and 3 Lilith, because this card can search it. And since you have 3 of any trap card, you're basically guaranteeing that they're going to give you the card that you want, even though it's supposed to be random. Kind of like in line with stuff like Tenacity of the Monarchs or Pantheism of the Monarchs graveyard effect. So really incredible card. The fact that it makes every normal trap card searchable is just absolutely absurd. I mean, this makes Dimensional Barrier now searchable. So if any card is going to see some competitive relevant play outside of Diabolos, it's going to be Lilith. So this card definitely deserves to be an Ultra, and I'm really happy that it is. Now this moves us on to our next card, Arima. What I actually want to do is, though, I want to show you guys the field spell first, because it's going to make more sense in context why some of these other cards are better. So I want to talk about Lair of Darkness. So it's a field spell, so that means you can search it with Terraforming. All face-up monsters on the field become dark. Once per turn, if you attribute a monster you control to activate a card effect, you contribute 1 dark monster your opponent controls, even though you do not control it. So that's absurd, because, so for instance, like with Lilith's effect, with Lair of Darkness on the field, you contribute your opponent's monster, and then you get to set a trap card to your field. But any dark monster, it doesn't have to be a dark monster, it's any monster that would tribute the, that just basically tributes to activate an effect, can basically be meet the requisite of Lair of Darkness. So that's insane. Again, so people have been talking about Infernoids, you can use their tribute effect on your opponent's monsters, and since Lair of Darkness makes them all dark, all of your opponent's monsters become viable candidates. Now, once per turn during the end phase, special summon as many Torment tokens, which are Fiend Dark level 3, 1000 attack and defense, as possible to the turn player's field in defense position, up to the number of monsters tributed this turn while this card was face up on the field. So if you tributed a monster during your opponent's turn, they're the one that are going to get the token, and vice versa. So that's also really cool because it gives you more fodder to tribute for some of your other card effects like Lilith and things like that you're going to see later. So the synergy's all there. Really powerful card, and again, that's another card that has a lot of potential moving forward. Now, Arima the Wicked Warden, Dark level 4, 1700 Fiend. You can discard this card, add 1 Lair of Darkness from your deck to your hand. So that's really good. It basically means you can play 9 copies of Lair of Darkness, 3 of this, 3 Darkness, and 3 Terraforming. Then you can tribute a Dark monster, draw 1 card, or if you tributed a dark monster, you can, other than this card to activate this effect, you can add 1 dark monster with 2000 or more defense from your deck to your hand. So it allows you to Rhoda in a way for any of your powerful dark monsters. I mean, you can get Diabolos with it because he meets that requirement. There's a lot of good dark monsters with over 2000 defense, and it also meets some requirements for some of the virus cards, which go in tandem with this deck as well. So he's really powerful just for not only the draw effect, but being able to search out the field spell. The fact you have that versatility makes the card really good. Then we have Grinning Grave Virus. So this allows you to tribute a dark monster with 3000 or less attack. Your opponent destroys 1 card of their choice in their hand or deck for every 500 attack that monster had on the field. So if it had 3000 attack, they destroy 6 cards. If you tribute a monster with 2000 or more attack to activate this effect, look at all cards your opponent draws until the end of their 3rd turn after this card's activation. Destroy all monsters among them. Cards destroyed and sent to the graveyard by this card's effect cannot activate their own effects in the same turn. So the fact that it basically shuts down stuff that would trigger in the graveyard as well is extremely powerful. This is another card that the first effect isn't too good because they get to, again, select the cards, but the fact that you basically get to negate all those effects as well is what makes this card rather appealing. Now, another new card here is Duke Shade, the Sinister Shadow Lord. This is going to go in tandem with the Lair of Darkness card. Dark level 4, 500 attack, 2000 defense. You can tribute any number of dark monsters, special summon this card from your hand, and if you do, it gains 500 attack for each monster you tributed. So basically, you can just kaiju your opponent's whole field to summon this guy in tandem with Lair of Darkness. So that's really cool. If this card is no more special summon, you can target 1 level 5 or higher dark monster in your graveyard, add it to your hand. You can only use each effect once per turn. And you also can only special summon dark monsters the turn you use the effect. So it's a little bit restricting, but the fact that you can basically board wipe your opponent, but actually not destroying the monsters, but by tributing them, that's really, really powerful. Now we're going to be moving on to the commons here. We got Diabolos, the original Diabolos, King of the Abyss. Lich Lord, King of the Underworld. Man, it's so weird seeing these cards not in Secret Rare. Prometheus, King of the Shadows. That's a really good game ender. Archfiend Emperor. We have Caius the Mega Monarch. This was a $12 card before being reprinted in the structure deck. So really nice reprint all around. I think a lot of people are going to be happy about that. Legendary Maju Garzette. Vanity's Fiend. Vanity's Fiend doesn't really need a reprint, but it's always nice to have more Vanity's Fiends. Mist Archfiend. Infernal Dragon, Archfiend Cavalry, Stygian Street Patrol. We got a Phantom of Chaos, Plague Wolf, Fiendish Rhino Warrior. We also have Curry Bandit, which, I mean, Curry Bandit's still an alright card. You get a Tour Guide in here, which tandems really well with Lilith, Absolute King Backjack, and Relink Karibo. Now moving on to the spells, Recurring Nightmare. This is a really cool card that they reprinted. Allure of Darkness. The cheapest copy of Allure of Darkness is like $4 at the moment, so again, a lot of value here. If you buy 3 decks, you're getting a whole playset of Allure of Darkness. Hand Destruction. Foolish Burial Goods, another really good reprint. This was like $5 to $6 before getting printed in this deck. So between Foolish Burial Goods, Allure, and like Caius, you're already like making up a majority of the value. And that's not counting the exclusive cards that are in this deck as well. Boogie Trap, Fires of Doomsday, and Veil of Darkness. And rounding it off with the traps, we have Crush Card Virus, Deck Devastation Virus, Eradicator Epidemic Virus, Full Force Virus, Dark Light, Trap of Darkness, Mind Crush, again, another extremely good reprint. Mind Crush was hovering around, I think, like the $3 range, but this is a very relevant card in a lot of formats, so it's always just nice that they're reprinting it again. Rise to Full Height, Curse of Darkness, Sinister Yorishiro, and last but not least, the Torment Token, which you're going to need a lot of if you end up playing this deck. So guys, that's going to do it for this unboxing. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video and some of the insights I was able to provide. Be sure to like the video as always, subscribe to the channel for more amazing Yu-Gi-Oh content, and if you found this video informative, consider backing me on Patreon, because just by pledging only $1 a month, you're investing in my ability to continue bringing you amazing Yu-Gi-Oh content. So thanks so much again, and we'll see you next time.